Good morning, Wareham. It is Monday, June 10th. We have a great show here for you. The news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. On Friday, we said goodbye to the Wareham class of 2019, and WCTV was there to hear from the students. In addition, Barbara Meehan and Jen Hodley are in the building today to discuss Alzheimer's advocacy. But first, let's take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the morning show. So stay tuned because the weather and the news headlines are next. Mainly cloudy today with high at 74 degrees. Showers tonight with low at 63 degrees. Showers likely along with possible rumble of thunder tomorrow morning with high around 75 and low around 53 degrees. And now to the news. There were a few news stories over the week, and here are the news headlines. Wareham Vikings fall short in epic comeback bid to Fall River Diamond in extra innings. It took 9 long innings until Wareham's season ended at Fall River Diamond in the MIAA Baseball Division 3 Baseball State Championship Tournament Division 3 in a streaky 8-7 finale. And also, Buzzy Lindsay and Sean Shudrick Golf Opens. The 26th annual Buzzy Lindsay and Sean Shudrick Golf Open, hosted by Lindsay's Family Restaurant, will be held today, June 10th, at Little Harbor Country Club at 9 Little Harbor Road, beginning with a shotgun start at noon after golfing 18 holes and working up an appetite. Participants are invited back to Lindsay's 3138 Cranberry Highway restaurant for a prime rib dinner buffet with desserts and cash bar. And there will also be prizes, raffles, and giveaways. The cost is $100 per person, and it includes golf, dinner, and access to the prizes and raffles. Anybody who is looking to participate, please just call the Little Harbor Country Club if you would like to reserve a cart. And we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back after this short break. Well, 93 students graduated from Wareham High School this Friday, and congratulations to all of them, including their families. So I was there before they received their diplomas. I was there to just ask them a few questions, one of them including to summarize their last 4 years at Wareham High School. So take a look. First question is, summarize your high school career for me.
I would say it was definitely a roller coaster, but if I had the chance, I would do it all over again.
I'd say it was a lot of hard work and dedication, but I had a lot of fun, and I would definitely say the clubs were probably the highlight of the clubs and the teams I were on were the highlight of my career.
Oh my goodness, just everything. I'm super excited. Just 4 years coming to an end. just see my family there. I'm super excited. I'm probably going to cry like a baby.
I'm sure your family is going to cry even more than you.
Yeah, they are.
So, did you know how smart you were?
Yes and no.
Okay, so what is the no part?
I don't know. I just always like to be humble, and I really didn't pay attention to the whole class rank thing until they called me in the office and said, "Hey, you're salutatorian." I was like, "All right."
Oh my goodness, come this way, honey, come this way.
Oh, I've only been here for 1 year. I'm an exchange student
From where?
from Norway. From Norway.
Okay, so, wow, all right. Ooh, a lot of questions. How do you compare Norway to Wareham?
I don't know. I really like this place. It's very social, you could say. I don't know. It's difficult to explain. I just like the whole place.
So,
It's awesome.
how did you become an exchange student?
Everything was nothing was going really well at home, so I just decided to get out of there, and I ended up here.
Was this the best decision you made?
Definitely. I think this might be the best decision in my life.
Today is the last official day that you're done. What is the next step from now?
I'm going to be attending the University of New Haven, and I'm going to major in general biology.
I'm going to Cape Cod Community College, and I'm going to be studying criminal justice.
I need to get your number because supposedly I speed a lot, and it would be great to know a police officer's number one day. So, I mean, okay, what advice do you have to anybody, either still in high school or about to join high school? What should they be looking forward to?
Always stay motivated. Make sure you do your homework. Don't slack like I did freshman, sophomore year, because it does catch up to you, and it's probably one of the worst things.
Honestly, just do your portfolio because that's one of the hardest. Just keep up with it.
Wow, congratulations. So tell me about all of this. I see DECA, then what else?
DECA, I have Honor Society and Key Club.
In Key Club, so you're a very busy student.
Yeah, very busy.
So tell me about your last 4 years.
My last 4 years have been spent in this crazy place, doing every club that I could possibly join and just really throwing my heart into the soul of the building.
Do you feel it has paid off?
Yeah, I feel it's paid off.
Brianna, congratulations. You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
So how do you summarize your last 4 years at Wareham High School?
So I was only here for last year and this year, so I was here for 2 years. But the comparison from here to my old school is it's so like diverse here, and it makes like everybody feel welcome. So I really like that, and the teachers are like so personal with you, and they always try to like make you feel like your life can be shared with them, and they can help you with your struggles and like help you become like the person that you are. So like a couple of teachers like Barry Alt and Mr. Tabor have like really been my role models this year.
Now, how did you end up in Wareham? Was it due to school choice?
No, I moved in with my grandmother, so she put me in the school here, and I just fell right in, and I felt like I've been here my whole life.
When you look back at your 4 years, can you point out a certain moment, time that you felt like I'm at the right place at the right time?
So I do a lot of work with the special needs kids, and that being in Best Buddies and getting to work with them and being in gym class with them, because I asked to be in the adaptive PE class, that all made me feel like I was in the right place because it was making me make the right moves for my career. Whereas my old school like sent all of the special needs kids to like collaborative schools, so there wasn't really much for me to do there. So I feel like I definitely...
I'm really excited. I'm a bit nervous, but it feels really unreal right now, but I think it'll sink in eventually, but it hasn't sunk in yet.
Okay, so you're going to be giving a speech today.
Yes.
Summarize it for me.
So it's talking about our dedication to helping our community, because we're all very proud of the town of Wareham, and also talking about, you know, everyone having a different personal struggle that they've, you know, persevered through, and they've gotten to this point. It's a symbol of growth, and it's also to be proud of where you grew up.
Now, you are the valedictorian. You got accepted to go to Harvard. Congratulations. So, to me, it seems like your last 4 years were very busy. Do you have a counter narrative for me?
So it was definitely really hard, a lot of sleepless nights, but I went through a change in my life where, I had to make certain accommodations, get enough sleep. Sleep was a very important thing. And also just making sure you manage your goals, develop a schedule for yourself so that, you don't have to stay up till 3 a.m. every morning to do what you need to do and to stay productive too.
Now, are you the firstborn, lastborn? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I am the oldest child of my family. I have 3 younger siblings. So one will be a junior next year. One will be going to the high school as an 8th grade dual enrollment student, and my youngest sibling will be in 4th grade.
So you have set such a high bar for your siblings. I mean, do they say thanks a lot, or what's going on? Are they proud?
They're really excited. They're proud. But, it's just, they're going to do their own thing. Everyone's very different, but it's just to set the values of like hard work and doing what you like and play to your strengths.
Wow. So when you look back to your last 4 years, what sticks out to you?
I'll remember all the fun I've had with my friends and all the amazing teachers I've had.
Oh, so what are we doing after high school?
I'm going to study biology at Emmanuel College in Boston.
Congratulations.
I'm going to study neuroscience at Emmanuel College.
I'm studying business and or teaching at UMass Amherst.
So what's next for you?
I have to go back and graduate high school at home. I have 1 more year there left.
Oh, so Norway's 5 years?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So everybody's jumping and down in there, thinking they're done, and you're like, I have 1 more year.
Yeah, so I got 1 more year before I can go to college, but hopefully I'll be back.
I kind of feel a little bit nervous and a little bit excited because I'm happy to get out of high school and I'm happy to complete it, but I'm nervous because I don't really know what to expect.
You look back at the last 4 years. Tell me about the faces who have been there to make sure that this happens for you today.
Definitely my family, my mom especially. She instilled a hard work ethic into me. Definitely, my classmates, the teachers, the guidance counselors, basically anybody involved with the school has had some part in making this a success for everybody.
Definitely the teachers. They were a great support system. I don't know what I would have done without them. And also a huge shout out to myself because I did this. This was all me, and I'm so proud of myself.
This is a little cliche, but I'm going to say just my family overall. Without the alumni that I have in my family, I wouldn't have wanted to take so much out of here, or my mom and dad always getting on me to get my work done. Just overall, my family is honestly the only reason that I've made it this far.
So there have been a lot of people. You mentioned teachers, you mentioned great memories. I'm assuming that your fellow students. Yep. But who else has really helped you throughout this journey?
Just teachers and having good friends in high school. Okay. It's always making sure you have that good relationship throughout. So.
Who will be cheering for you the most today?
My mom and girlfriend. And my grandpa. That is...
So what do I say?
Well, to say thank you for raising me.
So thank you to my parents, my aunt, my uncle, my grandparents, everyone in my family for being awesome.
For being awesome. And what about your last 4 years sticks out to you?
Just my teachers. They're awesome.
There's so many people I'd like to thank, from my host family to my teachers, but maybe especially my teacher, Mr. Franco.
Yeah. And your host family will be there today?
They will.
How about your parents?
They will not. They're in Norway. They wanted to come over to see me graduating, but they couldn't make it.
Well, at least you have 2 graduations, then they'll make it to that one, right?
Yes, they will.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for my time.
Okay. Do you have any words of advice for those who aren't graduating today or have not even entered high school? What do you have to say to them?
Definitely have fun, but take your grades seriously because they impact where you get to go next in life.
Get involved as quickly as possible. I would recommend just becoming as big of a part of the school as you can, because you'll find that the more you get involved, the more you love Wareham and what we represent.
That was good. That was really good.
Definitely challenge yourself, manage your goals, get involved, but most importantly, get involved with things you're passionate about, because when you do that, it doesn't seem like a chore, and most likely you'll be more successful by doing what you love.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So tell me how it feels to say goodbye to another class.
After 13 years, it doesn't get any easier. Every one of them is a special group of kids, and I'm definitely going to miss them all.
Now, each class is unique. What is something unique about this class?
They don't quit. They strive. They keep going, and they keep going for higher and higher and better and better. It's a great group of kids, and I'm proud of them.
What has been the highlight of your 1 year in Wareham?
One highlight? I don't know. There's been so many. Everything from my senior night at hockey, prom was pretty cool. It's just so many amazing things. I don't know. I can't put out just one.
Yeah.
What is next for you?
I'm doing 2 years at Bristol Community College for psychology, and then I'm transferring over to Bridgewater State, and I'm going to major in special education and psychology.
I went to Bridgewater State.
Really? Yeah. What did you go for?
I went for communications.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah. So, whom do you give a shout out to? I hear grandmother. I hear 2 teachers you mentioned. Yeah. Who else is in school?
Definitely all of my friends and the guidance counselors and Miss Deneen. They've all made my high school experience so much better. Like everybody, like my friends specifically, like my friend Maura and my boyfriend, everybody's just been so supportive in getting me to the finish line and making sure that I didn't have to take an alternative route. So it was just like a really good.
You're saying goodbye to the class of 2019, and Wareham High School is saying goodbye to you.
This is true, yes. I told the seniors, I wrote a letter to them the other day, and I mentioned something that we talked about the very first meeting we had this year, and I said we had something in common. I told them that, this is our last year here at Wareham High School, and there will be that bittersweet time that you'll be so excited to be, looking forward to something new, a new chapter in your life. But at the same time, there will be that sadness and looking back and missing everything, all the experiences and the people and the relationships that you've had here. So, I will miss the school, I will miss the kids, I will miss the experiences and the importance, of what I do, but it is time to move on, and just like it is with the kids.
Do you know what's next? What is the next chapter?
For me?
Yeah.
For me, I'm looking forward to not having a schedule or living by an alarm clock, the 60 and 70-hour work weeks, some travel. I think I'd like to maybe start on a book that I've always wanted to write, and just enjoy some time with my husband and my family. Yeah.
Now, I asked the seniors, I said, when you reflect at the last 4 years, what sticks out to you? Same question. Mm-hmm. What sticks out to you? And not only last 4 years, your whole journey.
Right. Well, I think, Wareham High School is a very special place. There really are, there's such a diversity here. And the kids and the staff, we don't distinguish between the haves and the have-nots, and, color and sexuality and what you do and who your parents are doesn't really matter. Everyone here is family.
So 27 years, 66 miles back and forth.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How do you leave Wareham High School now from when you entered Wareham High School 27 years ago?
How do I leave it? Well, I think when I came here, I wasn't sure what to expect. It was a pretty little town by the side of the water. There was water everywhere. I think the town has grown a little bit, and I look at Main Street and Onset, and it's sort of revitalized itself. I think, well, certainly I'm older. The experiences that I've had here, there have been so many. I've seen a lot of wonderful things. I've seen tragedies. I've seen some of our students not graduate because their lives ended, and sickness or long-term illnesses, that kind of thing. But what always stands out then and now, again, those relationships and the sense of support. I quoted a song from Bruce Springsteen, and this is a beautiful place to be born. It's a beautiful place to live. That town sort of wraps its arms around you. Nobody goes it alone, but nobody crowds you either. And I didn't quote that exactly perfect, but that's the way I feel about this town, and it's always been that way.
We have a wonderful young lady going to Harvard. Tell me what that says about Wareham High School.
It's amazing. So this is our second year in a row having someone from Wareham go to an Ivy League school. Last year was someone going to Brown, and it was when I heard the news, I was elated. I was like, "Whoa, this is really great!" I was so happy.
So, what advice do you have? You're also a father to a junior becoming a senior. What is actually, from your perspective, the formula to not only be at Wareham High School, but to actually succeed here?
So it's like everyone always tells me. It's like you get what you put in. You really do. So my son happens to be very involved, and all the people. Did you see all the awards at all the other day? Oh yeah, but if you did, all those people, they all put the work in, and it shows. And it's an amazing school, and we've got an amazing staff, and things are really turning around, I think.
If you had advice to give to this class, what would you say?
Advice to this class, I would say, like, don't hold back. Follow your dreams. Don't be shy.
Do not be shy.
Don't be shy. Just get out there and do it.
So tell me a little bit about this class, 2019.
This is a very nice class. Some of the things that they've done, we've had a girl that's planted sunflowers and both at the field here and then with the softball girls over at their field. Our students have band together with different events throughout the year. The amount of community service that our students have done, we'll miss them greatly. Academically, fantastic class. We have students going to Tulane, to Indiana University, to Harvard, to UMass, to Bridgewater. And then we have students that are joining the armed forces, going into trades. So we're very proud of them.
So today you're going to share a few words to the class of 2019. May you summarize those words for us.
It is a walk through their memories, but also the importance to continue to move forward.
Class of 2019.
Yes.
Tell me how proud you are.
Oh, I'm very proud of this class. It's probably one of the best classes we've had here in a while. Academically, they are very strong. Top third of the students have a 90 average or better. I don't remember the last time we were able to say that. So it's a very strong class. They've got great integrity, just very mature beyond their age. It's a great group of students. They're going to be off to do some wonderful things. You'll be hearing about them for the next few decades.
So tell me, how unique was this class compared to others in the past?
I think it was unique because the size, it was 100 students strong. They're very close, a close-knit group. We had a chance to get to know them all, and many of the students we got to know in 8th grade. This was the first group of 8th grade dual enrollment students, so we've known them for about 5 years, for the majority of them.
Now, seniors here, before they graduate, they have to do their seniors interviews, right?
Right, senior exit interviews.
What are some of those interviews that stick out to you?
Oh boy, well, I was involved in quite a few, so there are a lot that stuck out. I just think the students showing the growth from 9th grade to 12th grade and just reflecting on that, it was unbelievable to see the artifacts that they had to show us and to show that growth, and it just seems like every one of the students has a plan. There's very few that are sitting there going, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do next year. So it's a real motivated group, very focused, and it's been a lot of fun being with them for the last 4 years.
Well, as a parent yourself, I normally feel that each time you say goodbye to one class, it's like saying goodbye to your own child graduating.
Right.
What advice do you have for them?
Well, I think just live life to the fullest. Do everything you want to do. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is just a minor setback. Continue to move forward. Stay positive. And keep doing what you're doing. They've been doing some great things. They're very mature, as I mentioned. So it's going to be a lot of fun following them over the next few years and seeing what they do.
Do you have a advice to other kids not in high school yet? Because I hear a lot of tough moments along your road and you overcome. I hear a lot overcoming boundaries, overcoming obstacles.
Definitely.
What do you have to share?
So I had problems with anxiety, and I was having trouble making it to school, and I ended up having weeks and months where I just like wouldn't show up. And so my biggest advice is like, even if you get nervous coming to school, even if you have anxiety, you can work through anything like that sets you back, because I didn't think I would be here graduating this day, and I finally am. So it's something that like you can overcome anything. You've been through the worst, your worst before, you can get through this one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A message of overcoming.
Definitely.
Persevering.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Summarize your last 4 years for me.
Oh man, just so many awesome teachers, so many influences, so many good times. Just I'm going to miss everybody, but I'm excited for what's next.
Whom do you give a shout out to make this possible for you today?
Oh man, Miss Salerno, Mr. Brown, Miss Oman, Miss Dion, and my parents too.
And what's next for you?
I'm going to the University of Rhode Island for the Doctor of Pharmacy program.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Do you have an advice for others who are still in high school?
Just anything is possible. Believe it, dream it, and then just do it. It's possible.
Well, thank you so much for watching that video. I had a great time speaking with those students. And welcome back. You are watching Good Morning Wareham, and we're broadcasting live from a WCTV studio in Wareham. It's your source for local news, weather, traffic information, and extra interesting information. And now for a moment in history. Let's take a look at where we were today in history. Well, on this day in history in 1752, a man famously flew his kite in a thunderstorm. The Boston-born founding father Benjamin Franklin realized how lightning and electricity were related, and he went on to be one of the first people to look into the subject. Franklin invented the lightning rod, among other things, as a way to protect buildings and ships from lightning. And in 1692, Salem Village in Massachusetts Bay Colony killed its first witch on this day. A woman by the name of Bridget Bishop was accused by many for being a witch, and though she pleaded her innocence, she was found guilty and hung. In total, over a dozen people were executed on accusations of being a witch. On this day in 1980, Nelson Mandela wrote a letter to the African National Congress from his prison cell, explaining how people must continue to fight and dismantle the apartheid. Mandela would stay in prison for another decade before being freed and becoming South Africa's first African president after the nation's first multiracial government. And today's birthday, we look at two actresses who graced the screens of early cinema. Hattie McDaniel was born in 1895, the first African-American woman to win an Oscar for her role in Gone with the Wind. Judy Garland also celebrates her birthday today. Born in 1922, she is best known as Dorothy from The Timeless Wizard of Oz, as she is also the mother of another famous actress by the name of, Liza McNally. Liza McNally. Okay, and that's all for today in the history segment. To learn more cool historical facts, please go online under history.com. Stay with us. The coffee segment is next. But first, let's take a look at our events calendar. And welcome back. This is Good Morning Wareham, and right now is the coffee segment. I am joined by Barbara Meehan and Jen Hodley.
Close enough. Hoadley.
Hodley. Okay, Hodley. And speaking of messing up other people's names, all right, so Judy Garland, her daughter is Liza Minnelli. Okay.
Well done.
Thanks to Bob. Thank goodness I can pronounce my own name correctly. Okay, so ladies, thank you for joining me this morning, and we are continuing our conversation on Alzheimer advocacy. Bob, you've been here, and thank you for coming. Your dedication.
Yet again.
Yet again, dedication. Bob shared her story with us, her and her partner, their journey, just pretty much Alzheimer's, figuring out what it is, and how you handled it, Bob, which you handled it perfectly. You joined, you were active, and you're continuing to fight for others. And today I am joined by Jen, and Jen, you're going to talk about Alzheimer's advocacy and the walk to end Alzheimer's.
Sure.
So let's start with that. Let's start about the walk to end Alzheimer's. It's a big event. I believe it's the biggest fundraiser. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so the Walk to End Alzheimer's typically happens like the last 2 weeks of September. We have them all across the nation, so there's several opportunities right here in Massachusetts. And the walk is our biggest fundraiser. And what that does, all of our different fundraisers that we have, it allows us to be able to offer programs and services to families at no cost. And I can tell you a little bit about the programs and services if you'd like. So our programs and services, we start really with the helpline. Our helpline is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the number is 800-272-3900. People can call that to get connected to resources in their community, as well as have somebody to talk to about what they're dealing with. So somebody might just say, I'm experiencing some memory loss, or I'm noticing some memory loss in somebody that I love. I don't really know if this is Alzheimer's or what it might be, but we can help kind of walk people through some of the symptoms that people may experience, and then direct them to a clinic that can look into the details and run the right tests for a diagnosis. Sometimes it's not Alzheimer's disease. It may be some other reason why they're experiencing symptoms of dementia, and we help people with that as well. It doesn't matter if it's Alzheimer's or another related dementia. We're there to help people. And some people just need somebody to talk to. I tell people all the time, call us even if you're not really sure why you're calling us, because we can help you get to the bottom of whatever you need.
Yeah. Now, looking at the website, it said in 2019, which is this year, the disease is costing United States $290 billion.
Yeah, this is one of the most expensive diseses.
It is the most expensive.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's projected to rise. By 2050, we're looking at $1.1 trillion. So let's relate that to the walk to end Alzheimer's. Are people coming out and participating? How is fundraising going? How is awareness going?
Sure. Yeah, so I think we do have a lot of success at our walks. A lot of people come. They don't always know where those dollars go, though, so I think it is important to talk about that. Some of it is for care and support related to families that are dealing with us, so the helpline, care consultations, printed information and all of that. And we also we allocate some of the funds toward research. Our main goal is to find a cure or a disease-altering treatment for Alzheimer's disease. So we know that with the trajectory that you were mentioning, this is going to bankrupt our country. We won't be able to handle this. And as more and more people are being diagnosed, and people call it like the silver tsunami, we know that age is the #1 risk factor. So as the baby boomer generation is getting older, we're going to see more and more people living with this disease, and we need to be able to provide care for them. So that's one of the major issues we're running into. People being able to access care. There's a lot in terms of how to qualify for things, and that's difficult for a lot of people. Sometimes people make just, $100 too much, and that can make them disqualified for particular types of resources that could be available to them.
It's really sad, you know, just extra $100 and you completely cannot receive any help. You're saying the rising numbers on Alzheimer's. Do we know what those numbers are telling us? Is it just because people are aging and it's something to one of those factors that come with aging, or there's something else regarding Alzheimer's, new research that is pointing to?
Yeah, so we do know right now that age is the #1 risk factor. We tend to see it more frequently in women. Right now, what we know is that that's mostly because women tend to live longer. However, there is a lot of research that's exploring hormones, menopause, and how that may relate to that. They don't have any answers on that yet, but there is some active research surrounding that, which is quite interesting. And, you know, we know that people are trying to live healthier lifestyles, but I think if we look at from, you know, 100 years ago compared to now, we are living longer. So we're experiencing more things in terms of disease that we maybe didn't experience then. But also, I think, you know, we're looking at the quality of those years too. So we have a lot of fast foods that we eat now and things like that. So it's an interesting, you know, look at kind of the overall picture of how we live our lives.
So you did say that part of the money goes towards research, and some and most goes towards helping people afford the cost and just basically not bankrupt themselves along with, you know, as they take care of their loved one. How many of those calls are you getting? How many of those people comes to you and say, my loved one is diagnosed, but I cannot afford?
Off the top of my head, I don't know exactly numbers-wise how many we're getting, but we're busy all day around the clock. So, you know, we're getting calls left and right from people that need assistance, whether they have a diagnosis yet or not. It's people looking for answers. And we know on average, for every one person that's living with the disease, there's around 3 unpaid caregivers, part of that care team. So, you know, varying levels of involvement and all of that, but it's a lot. So it's not a disease that only impacts the person that has a diagnosis. It's around them as well.
Okay. Now, Jason, if you can communicate, we have a short little video, about 1 minute and like 20 seconds. I took this from YouTube, but it's a walk to end Alzheimer's.
Oh, great.
May we please show that?
I think that in order to beat Alzheimer's, we need more team captains to rally to the cause, to reach out to their communities, and to get more people involved so that we can raise the funds to stop this disease.
It's something that I care about, that affects me on a daily basis with my mom and dad. When I decided to do it, it was all in, and every person that responded, every email that I got, every note was just better and better and better. It makes you feel really special to have that kind of reaction, and it's not that hard to do.
As the team captain, it was really easy to recruit team members. Once I started talking about the disease, it was crazy how many friends and family have been affected by it also. It wasn't difficult. I started with emails, and then I went to social media, and then word spread, and now everybody who did it the first year's family and friends also are on the team.
The rewards of being a team captain are growing your team and seeing all of the funds that you raise and all of the progress that you've made come walk day, and to just be able to celebrate those victories and celebrate the day with your family, teammates, as you're recognizing and honoring those who have suffered from Alzheimer's.
We have to find a cure, and having a team and raising funds helps support families, caregivers, helps fund research to find a cure.
There's a certain amount of catharsis, there's a certain amount of therapy for yourself when you know that you're giving back to something and doing whatever you can to, you know, eradicate this disease.
All right, welcome back. Now, Barb, you shared your personal story, but let's hear about how you got to participate in a walk to end Alzheimer's. How easy was it to join, to reach out to Jen? We just watched a video and it looked like a very interesting big event.
Well, the first walk I did was in 2009, and I actually walked in Plymouth, and I was my team. I went and registered, and the lady gives me a lanyard and it says captain on it, and she said, your whistle's on there so you can contact your team. I said, I am my team. And then the next 2 years, I think I did alone again in Fall River at BCC because it was more convenient. And then from that point on, I started, my sister, my niece, and my niece's friend, and some people that we had worked with joined us. And now I have roughly around 15 people on my team. They include some former students of mine and Faye's. I have 2 who come up from Georgia to participate. My sister, 2 of her friends, and my niece and 3 or 4 of her friends come from Connecticut to participate. 3 years ago, I think it was, one of my niece's good friends had moved to Florida, and they didn't tell me, and she flew up just to go to the walk. It was so amazing. It's really easy to organize. You can go online and look up alts.org/walk and either create a team, join a team, or if you don't want to do that, you can always make a donation to a team.
Yeah.
It's really relatively easy. But the event is just so amazing. I volunteer at the Plymouth Walk, and Jen's always at both of them. And then I'm co-chair of the walk in Fall River. And it's amazing the people who come out. This last year, I asked a former student of mine if he would come. He's the bubble guy. Makes those gigantic bubbles. So I asked him if he'd volunteer, and he said, oh, of course. You know, he said, for you, I'll do anything. So he came when the walk was over last fall. I went to talk to him, and he said to me, Barbara, I'll be back next year. He said, this was so inspiring to me to see so many people who care so much about this illness. And, and it is. It's one of those illnesses that people don't want to talk about. It's one of the things the association does is a lot of different kinds of educational programs for caregivers and for professionals, and also health fairs. And sometimes I've covered the table for health fairs. Sometimes I've done it with Jen. And it's really interesting to see that people will either really want to talk to you, or as they're coming down the road, they kind of veer out. And it's like, okay, it's not contagious. It is such a fear that I think older Americans have. And when you were talking about why it seems to be more, it dawned on me. Think about how far we've come in other medical areas where once upon a time people didn't survive appendicitis. And we've made all these advances now where illnesses are taken care of, so that maybe in the past they just never lived long enough to get Alzheimer's or one of the related dementias.
When people walk, such a big group, the one in Fall River, you said about 1,000 people, and that's one of the smallest. Do you feel people understand the gravity, or during the walk it's just, a time to, you're walking, but to put the gravity aside and just to participate? Like, do you feel like people get it, what they're doing and the impact of it?
Yeah, I think there's varying levels.
Okay.
Because if they are somebody living with the disease, or they are a direct caregiver living with that person and they see day to day the struggles, they live it. They understand that at a different level maybe than somebody in the family that wants to be supportive of it and wants to come. There is a ceremony that talks about, we have these flowers, they're pinwheel flowers, and there's color assigned to kind of what your connection to the disease is. If you're somebody living with it or you're a caregiver, you know somebody that's passed. So during the ceremony, they ask, hold up your flower if you're such and such. And it's really a moving part where you just kind of stop. And I think in that moment, everybody feels very connected because you look around and you see this, and it's astounding. It really just kind of stops you for a second. And you say, wow, you know, this is pretty amazing. And I found just in my day-to-day life, you know, if somebody says, oh, what do you do for work? And I say what I do, excuse me, there's always a connection in some way, shape, or form. People have a neighbor or a distant relative or even somebody closer sometimes. I find so many people know somebody that's been impacted by the disease. So
how did you get into this?
So that's yeah. So both my grandfathers had dementia. One had a vascular type dementia, and the other had Alzheimer's disease. So that's kind of, I think, what made me decide this route. My degree is in therapeutic recreation, and I worked, my internship was in a nursing home, and I found a lot of the patients in the nursing home that had Alzheimer's I had a strong connection with. And after graduation, I went to working in memory care assisted living for about 10 years. And so I felt very connected to each individual's stories and who they are as a person. And I think it's so important to realize that somebody living with a disease, that doesn't completely define them. They're a person behind all of that, and what makes them different in terms of how the disease affects them is really what has made them the person that they are.
Yeah, it's interesting because Bob did share about dignity. That, you know, when Faye was in a nursing assisted living, and you talked about dignity, how important it is that even though they may not understand who they are or why they're there, but to maintain their dignity. Simple things, cleaning them, storing their teeth, their dentures, you know, it goes a long way. When we're talking about Alzheimer's, and for those who either have not dealt with it in a closer proximity that they seem to care enough, what should they be listening to? What should they understand or take away from this?
So for the person living with the disease, I think something very important is just to slow down how quickly we speak, allow the person some time to process the information that we're giving them, know that communication changes a bit. Their perception of how things are going around them changes. Sometimes they may accuse somebody of stealing something because they don't remember where they put it. So just allowing that understanding that, okay, they're going to be confused about things sometimes. And the biggest thing is just to kind of roll with whatever their reality is, join them in that reality, and connect on an emotional level. Just, you know, let them know that they're safe, that you're there with them, and you're going to help them as much as possible. And then for the care partners, I think it's important to recognize that it's a really stressful job that they're doing, and usually they're not getting thanked by the person that has the disease because they don't have that awareness to know that they need, you know, some extra support. So connecting with them, it's isolating, it's really hard. So allowing that person to have a break sometimes, or just somebody to vent to, and asking them, what can I do to help? But usually the person doesn't always identify what they actually need. So maybe coming with some solid, I want to help you with blank. And that can go a long way.
Yeah. Bob, did you want to?
Yeah, I wanted to say, when you were talking about sort of responding to someone with dementia, as much as you want them to be where you are, they're not going to be. You need to go where they are. And throughout Faye's illness, it was always 1980, and Jack Kennedy was the president. Okie doke, that's fine. And when someone in her 80s asks you if you've seen her daddy, you come up with an answer. My go-to answer was to look at my watch and say, probably at work. And, oh, you're right. You have to respond to where they are, because they don't know. And it's that's, I think, really hard for caregivers, for spouses and partners and children to adjust to. And I know for my niece, as Faye's illness became worse, it was very hard. She was 13 when Faye was diagnosed, and as Faye got worse and then when she ended up in the dementia unit, it was just more than Stacy could deal with. And so kids need help too, and I know Jen has done some school presentations, and I think that's awesome because so many kids are living with a grandparent. I have a good friend who just graduated from high school who in the 8th grade did a fundraiser at her junior high, and she sold the flowers for $1. And of the 110 kids who came and bought one, virtually all of them had someone in the family with Alzheimer's.
What can we do to enhance the discussion and actually to bring Alzheimer's forward and not make it a stigmatized disease? Because often people would associate mental illness or Alzheimer's or say, oh, that is this kind of person disease. That does not belong on this group kind of disease, you know. But what can we do in order to really show people that this is something that it does not care what color, what background you come from, it just doesn't care.
No, it doesn't. It does not discriminate whatsoever. I think, you know, just not being afraid to talk about it, we're starting to make some shift in that way where people are getting a little, they find it easier to talk about it, I think, but I think it still has a long way to go. I mean, many, many years ago, it used to be that people would whisper the word cancer and nobody wanted to talk about it, and it was like the family secret. I think that Alzheimer's has long been that way too. We're starting to see a shift where people are, you know, coming out and saying, I'm living with Alzheimer's. It's tough though. I do hear from a lot of people, they'll say that, and then people around them will say, well, you seem fine. And it's like, yeah, but you know, you're not with them 24 hours a day. You're seeing a snapshot into that, and that's frustrating for somebody who has a diagnosis or the care partners around them.
Yeah.
You know, not being afraid to ask questions. I just saw this really great short clip of children in England interviewing people with dementia. And it's awesome. It's so honest. It's, you know, kids aren't afraid to ask the questions that adults would be like, no, don't say anything about that. You know, one lady says, or one child says to a lady, now, is your hair purple because you have dementia? And she's like, no, I just like it. And it's very sweet, and I think it's a great way for people to get connected and see that people living with the disease still have a lot to offer. You know, we shouldn't just hide people away and pretend that, you know, everything's fine. I think it's important to talk about it and give them a voice. They have quite a bit to say still, and I think it's important.
I just wanted to say too that for civic groups, whether it's a garden club, a women's club, the line, whatever, contact the association and ask someone to come and speak, whether it's Jen or people like me, caregivers who are more than willing to spend the time to talk to groups to understand what it's like, and that don't make the assumption that a person has dementia when in fact there are some issues that could be fixed. And it's just, you know, you have to reach out and say, what, you know, tell us about it. What do we need to know?
Fantastic. And we have about 2 minutes left. For those who are living with Alzheimer's, but it has not gone to the severe stage yet, what are they saying? What do they need?
So again, I think just how we communicate needs to change, slow down. We do trainings for businesses where we're hoping, you know, that businesses can have more supportive environment and how they communicate with people, and those are free trainings. So it's a great way for our communities to really embrace and support people living with the disease, so they don't have to feel like they have to withdraw from society. They don't. They should be part of our society and you know, feel comfortable that way. So I think we can all work to improve the lives of people, anybody with any sort of disease, just by having more understanding.
Right. Thank you, ladies, for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you
to continue this conversation. I'm learning more and more each day, and I try part of me, I'm afraid, because I'm understanding that it's related to age, and if you live longer, if you get to live longer, then there's certain part of you are worried about something like this. But I think the more information I get, I'll be able to help myself and help others who are impacted by this.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
And to our viewers, thank you for joining us this Monday for another episode of Good Morning Wareham. If you missed us, this episode will air this evening at 6 p.m. and also will go on YouTube so you can watch it at any time you want. And that is Wareham Community Television YouTube. Apart from that, I'll be back here on Wednesday with more. I think the Gatemen baseball players will be here on Wednesday. But thank you so much. Have a pleasant day. Bye.